The culprit for the global market turmoil remains the same. Russia is engaged in combat with the Ukraine on its territory, actively deploying all military weapons, aircrafts, missiles, tanks and guns. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has just put his country's nuclear forces on special alert. It means the threat of using nuclear weapons. Let's see how this situation affects market sentiment. Apart from the geopolitical tensions, investors are worried that a few Russian banks have been cut off from SWIFT. The Russian ruble has fallen prey to the tough sanctions that could backfire on the global trade. The S&P 500 was rising in confidence in the last 2 days before closing on Friday, and today futures on the S&P 500 closed 2% down. Analysts warn about a steeper drop because their hopes for the prompt resolution of the Russia-Ukraine crisis dashed. The S&P index is now trading at 4,365 points, inside the expected corridor between 4,300 and 4,400 points. When it comes to the US economy, it's obviously on a sound footing. The only headwind is a soaring inflation, with an annual CPI at 7.5%, the fastest rate in the last 40 years. Later this week, the market will get to know a series of macroeconomic data for February with the optimistic forecasts. On Tuesday and Thursday, traders will take notice of the ISM manufacturing and services PMIs. On Wednesday and Friday, the data on the US labor market is on investors' radars. The question is whether the data will cheer up investors and improve market sentiment. Dramatic hostilities in Ukraine reinforced the US dollar's safe haven status. Some analysts say that the Fed Reserve will have to adopt a less aggressive monetary tightening than initially expected to fight against high inflation on the back of geopolitical tensions. And nevertheless, demand for the greenback will remain beyond. Since Russia's intrusion into Ukraine, the US dollar index has tested a few times the level above 97 points. Today, the index opened with a gap, and the case when the closing and opening prices differ significantly, and it spiked by 0.38% from 96.50. It's expected to stick to the upper border of the corridor between 96.90 and 97.70. Currently, it's trading at nearly 96.88. All commodity markets, including gold, oil, and precious metals, have a clearly bullish outlook. Global stocks are set to fall in parallel. Analysts are betting on the US dollar strength. The EU and the US took measures to freeze almost half of the forex reserves belonging to the Bank of Russia. Hence, traders prefer the US dollar as the most liquid asset. Commodities are rapidly gaining in value. The inflation for the Eurozone is expected to jump to a new historic high in February, like in the United States. It will spur a further rise in energy prices, crude oil in particular, amid elevated oil prices, and Canadian dollar could assert strength against its American rival. Meantime, the hostilities in Ukraine are keeping the USD CAD pair higher. Now the currency pair is trading at about 1.2735, poised to move downwards. The pair could find support at 1.27 or climb higher to the resistance of 1.29. A further direction will depend on the developments in Ukraine and in commodity markets. For the time being, Bitcoin is vulnerable to the news on the military front. Amid market turbulence, Bitcoin could attract more interest than the US dollar, for example, in light of the decision to cut all Russian banks from SWIFT. In response to the hostilities in Ukraine, some crypto exchanges have barred Russian users. Some trading platforms banned the currency pairs involving the Russian ruble and suspended users with the Russian IP addresses. On the other hand, the global crypto community donated more than $13 million to Ukraine. The Binance Crypto Exchange is going to allocate $10 million as financial aid to Ukrainian refugees. It plans to raise $20 million more. Prospects for Bitcoin are still under question. The military crisis in Ukraine sparked off turmoil in dollar-denominated assets. The flagship crypto has fallen by 4% to $38,082. The digital gold is given in to the real precious metal. Bitcoin is fighting for every dollar inside the corridor between $37,518 and $38,520. And that's all for today. Let's keep close tabs on events in financial markets together. Subscribe to our channel and see you tomorrow.